This is Quasar number 1. Now, this is going to be a weird issue for me to review because if you know by now, I am not a big fan of origin stories. It takes too long to set up. You can't really jump into things, and Quasar is no exception. Like, if you know and love Quasar the way I do, he gets into these amazing space battles, these issues in regarding cosmic events. Really a wonderful character. Kind of started out as Marvel's answer to Green Lantern because these quantum bands allow him to create yellow constructs, ironically, instead of green constructs. But you're going to hear me kind of rant and rave as we go through the origin story of Quasar, written by the wonderful, talented, and epic writer Mark Grunwald, Paul Ryan, who eventually would go on to draw a lot of great comics in Marvel. If I'm not mistaken, was drawing for Avengers West Coast. At one point, was drawing Fantastic Four, I think, during the Infinity War. But either way, there are these quantum bands, and they wound up in the hands of Marvel Boy, and then they overloaded him. So Shield has been sitting with these quantum bands, but eventually they make their way to Project Pegasus. Now, this is an origin story, right? It's like, what do we do with these quantum bands? They have people testing it out. I believe that's Wendell Vaughn's dad. We see Wendell Vaughn, and what I like about Wendell Vaughn is that he's, from the very beginning, kind of yelled at for not being aggressive. He is not an assertive person. He self-doubts. He's not really too sure his place. He's trying to figure out what to do. You know, his dad kind of is a bigwig, I believe, at Project Pegasus or S.H.I.E.L.D., so he's like has to live up to the legacy. But eventually what's going to happen is that Quasar, Wendell Vaughn, is going to take on the mantle of Quasar, and then he is going to realize that he is the protector of the universe, that he is in charge of protecting this entity named Eon, who's one of the oldest living creatures in the world and possesses all these great secrets about the universe. And there's going to be an attack on Eon in a series which I think is one of the best crossovers. Is it a crossover? No, it's not a crossover. It's a series of 6 issues called Cosmos in Collision, and Cosmos in Collision was just this really great story that involves Quasar trying to defend Eon against this guy named Maelstrom. So because of this attack, I think by AIM, they're on their way to steal the quantum bands. So of course Wendell Vaughn is forced to put on the bands to defend them from AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, and he gets who is this creature? I don't know. So he sees all these things, but eventually he's going to travel into space, have amazing space adventures. One of the things they're going to do in an issue, which is one of my favorites, is where they determine who's the fastest being in the universe, and the Flash wins, which is hilarious. I'll go into that later. But look at this. Look at that. Again, creates a construct similar to Green Lantern and is self-sacrificing. Oh, all these like the giant hands, like, I will do everything I can to defend this base from these attackers. And what has happened in the past is that people that wore the quantum bands, they burned themselves out. They couldn't handle the power. Here, instead of making a construct, just fires all this great quantum energy that destroys this giant AIM ship, and then, because they're heroic, flies into the air. This is reminiscent of what this came first. So eventually you have a similar action with Firestorm during Identity Crisis, where he is attacked with a sword and then almost goes nuclear, so he has to fly into the air when he explodes so no one gets hurt. So here, same thing, Wendell Vaughn flies into the air hoping that the explosion doesn't hurt anybody, but because he is not aggressive, because he is a mellow dude, he does not explode, and then he retains the quantum bands, and for a while goes under the identity of Marvel Boy, if I'm not mistaken, but eventually becomes Quasar. So it takes a while to explain these things, but otherwise it's a wonderful character that does all sorts of great cosmic adventures. And we talk about Nova and the Nova Corps. We talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. I really hope that Kevin Feige kind of goes into the back catalog of all these oldie but goodie characters. I think Wendell Vaughn has a lot of great stuff to contribute, not only to Marvel, but to the potentially MCU as well. So this is episode 1, issue 1, Quasar.